If you struggle with procrastination, there are three things that you can consider to try and fix it. And I've had procrastination so bad that it literally fucked up. It fucked up my life. For through my 20s, I procrastinated for over 10 years, and to make you understand how bad it is, I thought career-wise that I was going to be a lawyer. I knew that from, I think, about age 14. I was going to go to law school. I was going to study corporate law. And it came from a conversation I had with my dad. I said, "Dad, who makes a lot of money? What kind of professions make a lot of money?" And he said, "Well, doctors, lawyers, and businessmen." And I thought, okay, well, I don't want to be a doctor because I'm not really into cutting people open, dealing with tumors and horrible disfigurements and that kind of thing. It's just not my kind of thing. I didn't want to be a businessman because I thought it was too risky. I said I wanted to be a lawyer. It seems like the most risk-averse, straightforward job. You go to school, you take the LSATs, you get into law school, you have good grades, you take the bar, and then you get hired into a law firm. You work there for 5 or 10 years, become partner. At that point, you're making over $1 million a year. Your life is pretty set. I thought that's what I was going to do. So I said, I'm going to become a lawyer. And I went to school, and my procrastination, I think, kind of went from there. Because, being a lawyer, it seemed like such a faraway goal. It seemed like, it's going to be over 7 years, right? It's going to be 4 years of undergrad plus 3 years of law school. 7 years just seemed like such a long time. I said, man, I'm going to be, 27 maybe when I graduate. If I'm starting school now when I was, 17, 18, 19 years old, starting my undergrad. But I said, that's fine. 7 years from now, I got plenty of time to screw around and plan and think about it and all that. Now, mind you, when I started, I didn't know about the LSATs really. I was the first person in my family to, go to college and study white collar kind of, finance and all that. So I had to kind of learn on my own. It wasn't until about 3 years into college where I learned about, taking the LSATs, and I learned a little bit more about what it takes to become a lawyer. But I kept thinking, someday I'll study for the LSATs. Someday I'll, get ready I'll get ready to go to law school and whatnot. Well, time flies on, time goes on, keep procrastinating. And, I turned 27 and I was not a lawyer. In fact, I hadn't even graduated undergrad. I fucking procrastinated so bad that by the time I was 27 fucking years old, it was it, man. I hadn't gone to law school. I hadn't done anything meaningful towards becoming a lawyer. My life was pretty fucked up. I was fucked. I mean, at 27 years old, I was working at a restaurant for $2 an hour as a waiter. With tips, making $7 to $10 an hour. And that was pretty fucked up. That was pretty scary. But around that time, in my late 20s, is when I said, you know what, I'm done. I found my purpose, and I went to school, and I'll kind of walk you through what happened there. But I just wanted to establish that, I procrastinated so bad that I fucked away 10 years of my professional career, 10 years of, income earning. If I had been working the way I'm working now, I would have made over $1 million in those 10 years. I would have earned over $1 million in income. And I did it because I fucking procrastinated my way through it. And this is more of like a warning. If you're doing this and you're still young, fucking fix it, man. Don't fucking let it go on, drag on through all this time. Because yeah, sure, you're in your 30s, you still have plenty of time to earn money and all that, but I mean, what the fuck? You want to be fucking waiting tables in your late 20s? And if you are, make that change as quickly as possible, and I'll explain to you how and why in a moment. But the first thing you need to consider if you're procrastinating, the first thing you need to think about is there a medical reason that this is happening to me? When I wanted to tackle my procrastination, that's the first thing I did. So I seeked out therapists, and I didn't have any money for therapists. I didn't have money for any kind of medicine. I didn't have health insurance for over 12, 13 years. So I went out and I found free therapy through my school that I was going to, first in my early 20s, and when I went back to school in my late 20s. I went out and found free therapists on campus that they offered to the students. So I spoke with therapists, psychiatrists, and eventually I got a doctor who said, sounds like well, to deal with your procrastination, we're going to give you some like Adderall or Vyvanse, right? I tried different things, Ritalin, and it was ended up that it was treating symptoms that I was having. It wasn't really treating the root cause of my procrastination, which turned out to be a medical reason. There's two things that I had to deal with. First was you may have to consider is clinical depression. If you could be procrastinating because you're actually depressed, and it's one thing to be depressed when you don't know your life's purpose. You don't know what's the point of waking up, and you don't have motivation from that. But that's one way of being depressed. But then there's like actual clinical depression, where you have imbalance of chemicals in your brain, and you need to be treated with actual prescribed psychometric drugs, and that is something that you would have to get diagnosed by a professional. So go see a doctor, say, I think I'm depressed, whatever, or talk with them about it. But see if you can find a root cause of your procrastination. Don't just treat it with Adderall and Ritalin, because they do work, but temporarily, ultimately you might get addicted to them. But you're not going to be treating the actual root cause of this. The other thing to consider is having low testosterone. Now, I'm going to speak to men only about this because I don't know how it works for women, other than I know that if your hormones are off balance, you can have severe issues. And with men, look at what the symptoms of low T are. There's a huge, long list of them. But several symptoms that are included in there are depression, brain fog, and lack of energy. So in my case, I could feel that I had like brain fog. I could tell that just things didn't feel right. And for a long time, for years, I thought I had cancer. I used to smoke cigarettes really heavily back when I used to be a bouncer in New York. And I used to smoke, over a pack a shift. So I thought I was just I thought this was it. It finally caught up to me. I thought I had some form of cancer, lung cancer or something, and it was what was killing me. So you have to look at that. The other thing to consider, and like I said, if you have low T, if you have some kind of symptoms of that, talk with your doctor. They'll just order a blood test. I don't know if you can get a blood test yourself, if you can just go to Quest Diagnostics and request a blood test, a hormonal blood test. But either way, get a doctor. They'll help you kind of read through your results and tell you if you're at a high range or a low range. So go ahead and just Google, what are the ranges, and then you can compare your blood test results to what a normal healthy range would be. Mine was very, very fucking low. It was way below what the normal healthy range was. So in my case, right, it was causing severe issues. Like I couldn't focus because I couldn't fucking remember anything. I had really bad brain fog, and no short-term memory whatsoever. I wasn't clinically depressed, but at one point in my life I was, and I'll tell you guys about that in another video. But in the meantime, right, like if I can't remember shit, I'm struggling, day to day to remember why am I doing things, right? It made me pretty fucking depressed, but I wasn't clinically depressed. The other thing to consider is long COVID, which was something that I also was diagnosed with. And you guys can read about it. Don't want to get into it too much, but in my case, I had potential damage to my prefrontal cortex from COVID, and you can read about how it happens to lots of people. They actually had damage to their brains, or they had damage to their lungs. There's Olympic athletes. I think there's 2 or 3 famous ones who were incapacitated. They couldn't do sports anymore because their lungs were so messed up from long COVID. So that's something else to consider. There are treatments for long COVID, at least with your brain. I don't want to get into it too much, but just talk with your doctor and see what they recommend. And it's something very tricky to diagnose, but if you noticed that you started having symptoms of if you started around COVID, if you got it, even if you were asymptomatic, but you noticed that you started forgetting things, you did lose your energy levels, and you started struggling to remember, you started procrastinating much more heavily, and you weren't yourself afterwards, I mean, go talk with a doctor. That's how my doctor was able to kind of figure out what was wrong with me from that side. So it was a mixture of low T and a mixture of long COVID. So have a look. I mean, hopefully none of you guys have this, but hopefully your procrastination is these other factors that I'm considering. But start with the medical ones. Just talk about those and get them over with, because there's no point in talking about the other two things to consider with procrastination if you don't first look at if there's a physical, mental ailment, right? Something that's wrong. You're not gonna be able to fix it, and I'm gonna explain why. So these are the other 2 things that I did before I went to go see my doctor, because I was perhaps scared and I didn't have any money. I didn't have a good doctor as well. I went to doctors and some doctors, they were no help whatsoever. It wasn't until I found the right doctor that that doctor was able to help me, prescribe, with the medication I needed to get me better, to treat me. So the other 2 things I did first, which I don't recommend, I recommend first going to see a doctor, talking with them about it, and cut out the potential issues you have. Treat the potential issues you may have. But the other 2 things that you can do are ultimately find your life's purpose. And I'm not trying to be all woo-woo or whatever, but I mean, you're watching this fucking video, so you know that something's wrong. And I had to watch videos like this too to help me get through it. But what is your purpose, right? It's not just saying, I want to be a lawyer because I want to make a lot of money. It's like, why do you want to make a lot of money? What is the point of it? It sounds great. Like think about if you had $100 million in your bank account right now, what would you be doing? What would be your purpose? You probably want to have some kids. You probably would want to have a great wife, right? And you want a big house for everyone to live in. Everyone's happy. Or maybe you want to do a lot of traveling. Maybe you already had kids and a wife and you're just like kind of feeling lost, right? You're like in your 40s, your 50s. You're like, I already had the kids. I had a wife. We got divorced. And you want to say, well, what's my purpose now? What's the point of living? What's the point of getting up every morning? What's the point of working? What's the point of going in and actually doing my job? You're going to procrastinate if there's no fucking purpose beyond it. If there's no greater reason for doing these things. Yeah, you go into work, you got to do your job, you got to click away on the keyboard so you can make the money that you need to survive and maintain your lifestyle and drive your little shit bucket or to drive your Lambo, whichever car you got, right? But what's the purpose behind it all? What's the point of doing it? If you don't have that, that could be contributing to your procrastination, because there's no point in doing all of these things anymore, right? You've either never had a purpose and you had no point in living, or you had a purpose, you kind of lived it, you've achieved your goals, you've knocked off all the things that society tells you you're supposed to do. What's the point of living now? And the purpose is to become the best version of yourself and give that man to the world. That's simply it. If you're looking at yourself and saying, I am the best version of myself right now, you can't. You are here watching this video because you know that something is wrong. So you're struggling with procrastination. That's not the best version of yourself. A strong, powerful man doesn't fucking procrastinate, doesn't sit around wondering, what's my purpose? What's the point of living? Why should I wake up in the morning? You're here because you are not the best version of yourself. You're not purpose-driven. You're here because you're still trying to figure that out. I'm here talking to you because I figured it out. Because I did the first two things I talked about, which was spoke with the doctor and then found my purpose. I just told you what your purpose is. It's very fucking simple. You know you're not your best version. Are you still drinking? Are you a great father? Are you a father? You want to be a father? Are you married, but you are married, you don't want to be married, you're divorced? I mean, what the fuck? Are you doing all the things that you want? Are you attracting the right kind of people around you? So, very simply, become the best version of yourself. The easiest way is to look at yourself in the mirror and say, are you proud of what you see staring back at you? Are you some fat fuck? Or are you actually, somebody who's fit? Are you some kind of a skinny, wimpy ass dude? Do you look at yourself, your physique, and say, man, I couldn't even protect my wife and kids if I had to? Are you happy with what you see staring back at you? Or do you wish you were, jacked and good looking, had muscles and an 8-pack and all that? Are you like this beautiful, sexy specimen for your wife, for your queen, your girlfriend? Whether she's here with you now or in the future, are you somebody who's going to attract a beautiful woman and keep her happy and satisfied? Or are you not? Become the best version of yourself. And that includes finding goals. So that's step 3. The third thing to consider with procrastination is, do you have any actual goals to help overcome the procrastination? So that means looking at your body is the easiest thing to achieve, right? See a doctor, make sure your body's all right, then find your purpose, which is to become the best version of yourself and give that man to the world. So step 3 is now build goals around fixing that, around becoming the best version of yourself. Build goals for yourself at work to get promoted, to make more money, to maybe find another job. Like, once you have these kind of goals and you say, I want to be the best version of myself. The best version of myself, if you're poor, for example, is to make a lot more money than I make now, and to be jacked. Okay, there's an example. So you build goals around that. My goal is to go to the gym 5 times a day, to work out and get bigger, and get stronger, and stay with that. Stay with that routine, be consistent, because that's exactly what people who are jacked do. They go to the gym, they eat a certain way, they work out a certain way, they work out a certain number of hours every day, or not every day perhaps, right, but every week. So find a goal that you can stick to and stick to that goal. I understand you might have a job that starts at 8 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, but you can find time either before work or after work to get that shit done, to go to the gym and work out. Have your goals, set realistic goals that you can achieve, and work your way towards them. There's other videos where I talk about goal setting and I talk about making realistic goals. But at least have some kind of goals. Don't set one that's so far into the future like I did. I had this goal that I'm going to become a corporate lawyer. I set it so fucking far in the future and then fucked off the time in between then and now. And so you need to set goals that are achievable, that are within time. Set goals for every fucking day. My goal every day is to get up early, get in the gym, work out. Another goal of mine that I have to becoming the best version of myself is to be on here on YouTube, filming a video every day. I'm not gonna fucking miss. I'm gonna be here for you. Are you gonna be there for yourself? That's the question. I'll be here every fucking day, filming a video, talking with you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help myself more than anything. That's why I'm doing this. It's really to help myself. It's to keep a promise to myself, to maintain the goals, to make me feel more confident in my life because I'm over here filming content for you guys. So, the easiest place to start is to get into a workout routine where you are building the best version of yourself, where you are overcoming the things that can cause you to get low T if you don't have it, right? If you're a man, you can get low T by not working out, by not having muscle, by, especially, God forbid, if you're fat, I mean, you're just heading towards it, right? You're not getting enough sleep, you're not getting restful sleep, your body produces testosterone while you're sleeping. So if you're sleeping 3-4 hours a night because you like to party or you drink every night and then you're not getting quality sleep, if you do that for a long enough time, you're gonna kill your fucking testosterone levels. I promise you, that's exactly what happened to me, and it's gonna fucking happen to you. And when that happens, you're gonna be fucked the way I was fucked. So don't do it. Make sure that you stay healthy. So set a goal. Set a goal that makes you work towards becoming the best version of yourself. And don't wait until you are that best version of yourself to be proud of what you're doing, to be happy with what you're doing. Be proud of being on that journey, of being on that process to improving yourself. Make sure you work out, make sure you eat right, stay healthy, because if you're gonna have all the medical symptoms, the medical side effects of low testosterone, it's gonna fuck you. And you're gonna be in a bad place. It's definitely not gonna lead you away from procrastination. Plus, working out in a gym, it actually helps you build some sort of self-discipline, which is something that I did lose because of my procrastination, and it's kind of a vicious cycle, right? You have no self-discipline, and you have procrastination, and they kind of feed into each other. But by going to the gym, it helps break the cycle, because then you're down there, you gotta work out, and as you get better and better, you get to a point like where I am. I work out an hour of heavy lifting, and then an hour of running. And when you're forced into that every day, you are actually building up your self-discipline, and it will help you stop the procrastination. So all I can say is that start taking those first steps. Go see a doctor, find your purpose, which is to become the best version of yourself and give that man to the world. And step 3 is to start building some goals. Start taking some actionable steps towards, like, become intentional about stopping procrastination. Like, if you become obsessed about stopping procrastination, you will take these steps. You will go beyond my video. You're gonna start Googling how to stop procrastination, how to fix it. Eventually, you'll find a way that this message is being sent to you. It's the same fucking thing I'm telling you now, but you're gonna maybe find it in a way that makes more sense to you in some article somewhere or another video. But when you become super intentional about it, you are actually going to finally fix it. And then you can start moving on with your life because it's holding you back.